The Galactic Council had never encountered a species quite like humans. Dr. Zoll adjusted the settings on his molecular scanner, peering through the holographic display, with his 4 eyes narrowed in concentration. The human DNA sample rotated, slowly before him, an intricate dance of nucleotides that had puzzled the greatest scientific minds of 12 star systems for nearly a decade. "Any progress?" asked Director Tan, her scales shimmering under the laboratory lights as she entered. "Marginal," Zoll replied without looking up. "These humans are unusual. Unusual enough to warrant the resources of our finest research facility?" Tan's tone carried the weight of the Council's growing impatience. Zoll finally turned to face her. "The Council wants to know if humans are safe to integrate into the galactic community. I've spent years searching their genetic code for flaws, weaknesses, evolutionary dead ends that might predict their failure as a species. And what I'm finding isn't flaws. It's weapons." 3 days later, the Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Dr. Zoll approached the podium. Representatives from 200 species watched with expressions ranging from curiosity to disdain. "Distinguished members of the Council," Zoll began, "my team has completed our comprehensive analysis of human DNA. Our findings are concerning." He activated the display, and a 3-dimensional model of human DNA appeared above the assembly. Humans evolved on a planet that tried to kill them at every turn. Their genetic code reflects this brutal history. What we initially identified as inefficiencies or redundancies are actually sophisticated defense mechanisms. Council member Vren, a gaseous entity contained within an environmental suit, pulsed with skepticism. "Specifics, Doctor. Not dramatic. Pronouncements." "Of course." Zoll highlighted a section of the DNA strand. "First, their immune system. It doesn't just fight infections, it remembers them. Each pathogen encounter strengthens their resistance. They can withstand diseases that would decimate most species." He shifted the display. "Their ability to process toxins is unprecedented. Their liver can neutralize substances that would be lethal to most of us. What might kill one human might be survivable by another due to their genetic diversity." "These are adaptations, not weapons," interrupted Representative Cole from the Unified Moons. "Perhaps," Zoll conceded, "but consider this. Humans can survive radiation doses that would end most species. They can regenerate damaged tissue at rates we've only seen in specialized organisms. Their endurance borders on the absurd. They literally chase prey until it collapses from exhaustion." The chamber buzzed with uncomfortable murmurs. "Most disturbing," Zoll continued, "is their neurological structure. Their brains form connections between seemingly unrelated concepts, what they call imagination. They can envision threats that don't exist and devise solutions for problems they've never encountered." Director Tan stepped forward. "What is your recommendation, Doctor?" Zoll displayed the final slide of his presentation, a simple image of Earth against the blackness of space. "The humans call themselves adaptable. I believe this understates the reality. They are the ultimate survivors forged in evolutionary fire. They don't just adapt to environments, they reshape environments to suit themselves." On Earth, Dr. 1. James Miller checked his communications terminal for the 5th time that hour. The Galactic Council's decision regarding humanity's admission was due any moment. "Anything?" asked Dr. Tom Reed, his colleague of 20 years. "Nothing." James sighed, leaning back in his chair. 10 years of diplomatic missions, technology, exchanges, cultural programs, all hanging on some alien DNA analysis. They're being thorough, can't blame them. James shook his head. "I worry they're looking at us all wrong. They see our medical capabilities, our adaptability, our resilience as threats. They don't understand what drives us." "And what's that?" Tom asked. "Empathy. Connection. The same DNA that lets us survive also makes us care about things beyond survival." The terminal chimed, and both men froze. James reached for it with trembling fingers. "Well," Tom whispered. James read the message twice before looking up, his expression unreadable. "They've approved our admission with conditions." 1 year later, Dr. Xol stood in the observation deck of the Galactic Central Hospital, watching a human medical team work. An epidemic had swept through 3 systems, devastating populations, with an engineered virus that bypassed conventional treatments. The Council's best medical minds had been helpless. Then the humans arrived. They brought no miracle cure, no advanced technology the Council didn't already possess. Instead, they brought their relentless adaptability. They worked without rest, tried approaches no other species would consider, failed repeatedly but learned from each failure, and they were succeeding where others had failed. Remarkable, aren't they? Director Tan said, joining him at the window. I warned the Council they were dangerous, Xol replied quietly. Yes, she agreed, but you failed to specify to whom. Below, a human doctor noticed a child from the Coreward colonies crying in fear. Despite the pressure, despite the hazard protocols, the doctor paused to comfort the child, speaking softly until the small being calmed. Their DNA isn't just built for survival, Tan continued. It's built for connection. The same stubborn persistence that helps them survive drives them to help others survive too. Xol watched as the human medical team pressed forward against impossible odds, their determination unwavering. Perhaps, he finally admitted, what I identified as weapons are really something else entirely. Yes, said Tan. They're gifts, if wielded by the right hands. As if hearing them, the human doctor below looked up and gave a tired smile before returning to work, fighting against an enemy no one could see, for the sake of people they had only just met. The weapons in their DNA, it seemed, were pointed in the right direction after all.